Hey guys, I'm back again with some good news. Finally, without further ado, I'm releasing the new All Pro Football 2K PC editor for the Xbox only. It's not fully complete yet. I'm still working on features to allow more functionality, but I think I'm at a good point where I have enough to get it out there to the community and start getting some feedback and see what you guys can do with these rosters. So I wanted to just make a quick video to show you basically what you're going to be doing when you download the file. I'll put a link in the OS thread that I'm going to release it on, and once you download the file, it'll look like this. It'll be a zip file. It'll be version 0.1.2.0. That's my latest version, so I left it that way. And what you're going to want to also do, I've been hearing some of my beta testers have issues with antivirus software. So just make sure that you turn off any antivirus software you have running. It might prevent you from being able to download the file, and definitely installing it might be an issue. So the first thing I would do is open up the zip file and go ahead and drag the setup file to some location. Keep in mind the file is around 680 megabytes at the moment, and that's mostly because of the images and media that I have in there to show things like stadiums, player photos, team logos, etc. So just keep that in mind. It's a rather large file. So once we have the setup file, it will look like this, and if you double click on it, you'll start to bring up the installer wizard. So this will just be a quick walkthrough on how to install the program. It's very intuitive, but I wanted to make sure that you guys knew, because I was hearing some feedback from the community, the beta group, like I mentioned, and I want to make sure that they're aware of everyone out there is aware of how to install it and what it takes to run the program. So it's pretty simple. You're going to get a welcome screen. You hit next. You accept the license. It's going to ask you if you want to install in this directory, or you can change it and create your own directory. If you wish to put the file somewhere else, I leave it the way it is, and I just go ahead and hit next. And this is just a summary of where it's going to be installed, and once you're ready to go, you just hit install and it will do its thing. So while it's installing, what I wanted to do was just give you a quick rundown. I have other videos in my YouTube channel if you guys want to take a look at the previous tutorials that I brought out for the new editor. But this is just going to be a quick rundown of the latest pieces that I have, and just a high-level summary of what you can do with the editor. The first thing that I want to warn you guys about, if it's the first time you're using it, I would definitely recommend going into online mode. And seeing if you have two modes. When you first start up, you have an online mode, which locks down the text editing of names, and instead you can pick different names in the file to use. So if you want to use somebody by the name of John, you can pick their name and you'll use that as your person instead of just typing it in. If you choose to go with the offline mode, you'll have more access to just changing things at will, but because you go into offline mode, you're going to automatically make changes to your file. So I would recommend backing up your file, your roster file, before even getting started, and then I would also recommend that this is going to go ahead and launch the program when you're finished with the installer. But if you want to find where the program is installed, you just need to remember where you set it to in your installer. It's no different than any other program that you install. So, but just in case you are unaware, you're going to go, the default for me is C drive, program files 86, and APF 2KA editor. This is your executable, your shortcut for the file, and if you want to make a desktop icon, you can just right click and do send to desktop to create a shortcut, as you can see here. So we're going to go ahead and just hit finish, and actually, you know what, I'm going to cancel. I'm not going to finish. I'm not going to install it from here or run it from here. I'm going to go ahead and just hit finish, because I want to make sure that if you guys do a right click on the actual icon, if you run as administrator, I would recommend doing that if you see any issues with running the file. So if you have any issues just double clicking on it and trying to open up that way, then I would recommend doing a right click and running as administrator. Okay? I'm on Windows 7. I think it works on all Windows, but just FYI there. I'm going to go ahead and double click on the file, and it'll show you the load up screen, and then here's your initial startup. I have one file here I'm going to show you. You basically can drag it in, or you can pick from the drop down to open. It also has recent files for you if you want to pick a recent file that you've loaded. I'm going to go ahead and drag in, and you'll be presented with a screen that says, do you want to go into online mode or offline mode? So I'm going to go ahead and go into online mode. So I just added a couple things before this release. I have an upload folder here where you can go ahead and upload any team image. So if I want to change the Bills image, I can go and basically add my own. And you can just pick a file that is a PNG file. It has to be PNG. And you can add it in, and there you go. You get the new logo. It'll also be added to the menu on the fly, which I thought was kind of cool. The one thing though is that I believe if you change another team's photo or team name, by clicking this button here, you'll get the team name pop up. These are all the NFL teams that you can use online, at least the names, just the names. So it'll be, instead of saying the Stars, it'll say the Cowboys, for instance, if you've chosen Cowboys. In this case, I'm going to pick the Bills, and see, it's going to pick the same Bills logo that you had before. Just be a little careful when you're using this, because if you upload an image, then you've essentially lost the other image that you had. I think it makes it back up and then overwrites. Just keep that in mind. If you want to look at the images you have, you can go back to your install folder and go to images and teams, and this is the backup that basically it just created. So if I want to just close it out, don't save the changes. If I want to go ahead and just delete this image and put this one back, this is kind of a roundabout way of doing it, but I'm just showing you just to give you your options. There's my image back, and you can go ahead and access it again. I had an issue where I think it wouldn't let you upload a custom logo if you were on an offline mode roster file. So if you hit no here, it's going to warn you, by going into offline, it's going to, make changes to your file, and you should make a backup. So the one thing that I changed here was basically this should work now, where you could add your own photo in here, which, as you can see, and the one cool thing about it is if you change the names, it'll try to find the logo. If it can't, it'll just put an APF logo. If it can find it, then it will automatically find it by you just changing the name by hand. So if I want to pick the Jets and tab out of it, it'll show the Jets. You can watch my other videos if you want to learn every little thing about these functionality here, but I just want to highlight some quick changes that I made recently before adding this on. The major one was the team logos. The second one were the abilities. I went ahead and added them all in. And in my previous video, I mentioned that I show blue text in here if it's for the 2 new abilities that I added in the editor compared to the old one. But I switched that around. So what I did now is I basically highlight blue if your player has the ability. So it makes it a little bit easier to identify all the abilities that your player has without having to just look at checkboxes. Thought that was a easier way. And I also have the total abilities here that add up as you start to click, so you know that if you can only have 5, then you should only pick 5, and it'll quickly just count it for you. Another thing you can do on here, if you want to select all, you can click here. Obviously, we don't want people online with every ability, but if you want to play around and you want to have every ability on your player, you can do that. And then if you uncheck it, it toggles them all off. There's 76 total abilities, as you can see here, and this allows you to turn them all on and off. You also have different areas in here where you can do some editing. The face picker is one that I enjoyed creating. It's pretty cool. You can pick any of the legend faces and point them onto your player. Let's see here. Just be mindful. I left a couple guys in here that were not included in the game, like Boomer Esiason or Chris Collinsworth. If you see a no photo like this, it's probably gonna be because of these missing players. I would not use them for now because I've heard they may cause freezing issues, but I left them for the time being. You can also pick none if you don't want to have any photo on your player, or you can just reset back to where you were and get out of here. So that was just some quick information on how to install it. Remember, guys, turn off your antivirus software. You can run as an administrator if you think you're having issues with the file. And one thing also you may notice that I'm hearing about is your created team may be in a different slot. So your players might be on created team number 2, which are these 8 here, 1 through 8. They may show your players on created team 2, but they're really on your first team. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead and edit them on team 2. And when you load them up in the game, they'll be on the right team. So just keep that in mind when you're messing around with the editor. Don't get alarmed if your team is different than the players for the created teams. They'll match up when you go back. So hit me up if you have any questions. I'm going to put the thread on here in OS. If you have any bugs, leave some comments here, feedback if you guys have anything you want to say, and go ahead and rate the video if you like it or you don't. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Hope you enjoy the editor, and you can also, if you really want to, you can donate. I'm definitely appreciative of anybody who can spend a couple dollars to give back. Put a lot of time into this and sweat and many of nights. So if you want to give back, and I would appreciate anything you guys can give. But if not, that's fine too. It's for the community and for us to make this great game last longer. So thank you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.